Hi, friends. Welcome to part two of the saltwater habitat. And I believe this is where we left off, but that's okay. If it's not, you know me, it's okay to review. So I am going to go over this page and let's continue learning about the creatures that are in the ocean. I'm turning my camera off now, but I'll be back in a little while. Okay, here we go. So on this screen, you have a whole bunch of different creatures. There are plants and animals in nearly every part of the ocean, some in the deep, open waters far from land, and some in the shallow waters closer to home. Some animals, like turtles, jellyfish, and crabs, live closer to the shore where it's shallower and warmer. Some animals like it better near the surface of the water, and others prefer to live down at the very bottom of the ocean on the deep ocean floor. They have all had to adapt to the condition of their habitats. For instance, the animals that live in the deeper parts of the ocean have had to adapt to total darkness because the sun's light just can't reach that deep. Some fish, like jellyfish, have very large mouths and sharp teeth so that they can catch their prey as easily as possible. Other sea creatures have feelers on their bodies that help them feel where their food is. And some animals make their own light with special chemicals in their bodies, like when you carry a flashlight in the dark. And that's where we left off because then we were talking about animals that create their own light. Let me make this picture a little bit bigger. Oh, that is so beautiful. So, friends, when we were talking about a coral reef and SOS standing on the sand, can you imagine if you were in this coral reef, which is fairly shallow, and you stood up and you broke off these beautiful coral pieces or some of these um, sea creatures that live in here? That would be so sad. So, here comes Ruttenborough again. I have now arrived at a special part of the saltwater habitat called a coral reef, which is made up of many tiny animals called corals. Corals stay in one place all their adult lives. They have stomachs and mouths and even skeletons. These skeletons can be on the inside or outside of the coral animals and are also called coral. When the coral animal dies, its skeleton remains in place, and other coral animals will come and live on top of the old skeletons. The colony in which the coral lives is called a coral reef. So, a coral reef has both coral animals and the skeletons of those animals. I never thought about that before, friends. Okay, this next picture is funny. Hang on. Rattenborough's going scuba diving. Give me a thumb up if you've ever been scuba diving. I've never been scuba diving, but that is one thing that Mr. Knudson and I really want to learn how to do. I'm here in the Pacific Ocean at a coral reef. In addition to the coral, there are many other kinds of animals around the reef. I have found everything from fish and shellfish to octopi and sharks to snails and turtles. And remember, friends, octopi is the plural of octopus. One octopus, but many octopi. All right. Oh, and here's the sea stars. We also call them starfish, and I love finding these on my beach. Here is an animal that lies in and around this coral reef and whose name most of you can probably guess based on its shape. It's a starfish. This starfish, also known as a sea star, has 5 arms which make it look like a star. Although it is called a starfish, it is not actually a fish. It belongs to a group of animals that have a spiny skin all over their bodies. If I touch the starfish, I can feel its body is covered with tiny hard bumps that help protect it from predators such as sharks, manta rays, and other fish. So, friends, do you remember what a predator is? Yes, it's an animal that eats other animals. And what do we call the animals that are eaten? Yeah, that's the prey. Starfish are also able to protect themselves in another amazing way. If another animal actually catches and bites off one of the starfish's arms, the starfish won't die. It'll still escape. In time, a new arm will grow back to replace the missing one. And when an animal regrows a missing body part, it's called regeneration. So this next sea star, friends, I hate that I can't remember what it's called, but do you see how it doesn't have long, skinny arms? It just kind of has nubbies. It almost looks like the top of a Christmas tree, doesn't it? I wish I could remember what this one was called. I'll think about it. The starfish doesn't swim. It crawls very slowly along the ocean floor using hundreds of tiny tube feet. These feet attach to whatever the starfish is crawling over. As it crawls along the floor, the starfish is always on the lookout for food. This starfish's prey includes fish, snails, clams, oysters, and crabs. Oh my goodness. Wow. And here comes an animal that I told you that I really liked. So this next picture is a sea creature that I really like to eat. Do you guys remember what the name is? It's a lobster. Here is another animal that lives in saltwater. This shellfish is called a lobster. Lobsters live on the ocean floor in openings between rocks. Their hard shell stops most other animals from trying to eat them. Lobsters have many legs that they use for crawling about, and they use antennae on their head to feel their way along the murky ocean floor. I have to watch out for that lobster's claws. They're called pinchers, and they're very strong. The lobster uses them to defend itself against its prey and to catch and crush its own food. Lobsters are carnivores. They eat fish, worms, and other shellfish. I'm going to move out of the way of this lobster before I get squeezed. So remember, a carnivore is an animal that eats meat, an herbivore eats plants and grasses, and an omnivore eats both. Oh my gosh, you guys, what is this? Some of you know. Say it out loud. Yep, hammerhead shark. Looks like I moved right into the path of another predator. This is a hammerhead shark. If you take a look, you can see how the hammerhead got its name. Its head is very thick and it looks like a hammer from above with an eye and a nostril on each end. The hammerhead shark is a large fish growing up to 20 feet long and weighing over 500 pounds. That's about the same weight as 10 first graders. Hammerheads like to live in warm water, so they're mostly found near the coast where the waters are shallow and warmer. And friends, that's what we talked about earlier. We talked about the deeper the water is, the colder it can be. All right, let's see another picture of this hammerhead. Oh, that's a good picture. Isn't that funny looking? He's got his mouth, but then his eyes are way out here. Oh my gosh. Sharks are carnivores. So, friends, do you remember what that means? Yep, they eat meat. The hammerhead's favorite food is a fish called a ray, but it also likes to eat octopus, lobster, crab, and fish, and other sharks. Most sharks have smooth and slender bodies, which helps them to swim fast. Their mouths are full of sharp teeth to help them catch their prey. So I know we had a question a little while ago. Actually, it was a question from me about why do shark have those layers and layers of teeth? And I'm wondering if it's just so it's easier for them to catch their prey so they can eat. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next creature. Oh, yep, it's a whale. And this is a blue whale, friends. Let's go back up to the surface. There's a sea animal I'm sure you'll want to see. but we have to travel farther out to the sea, away from the coral reef, and into deeper water to see it. This amazing creature is the biggest animal in the world. It's a blue whale. Blue whales have bluish gray skin and are covered in a layer of blubber that helps them keep warm in the frigid ocean depths. Do y'all remember what blubber is? It's that layer of fat that some animals have under their skin that keeps them warm. Blue whales are so big that they can weigh as much as 25 elephants. Oh my goodness. In fact, blue whales are the biggest animals known to have ever lived on Earth, even bigger than dinosaurs. And I am sure that Mason has something to say about that because he's one of our dinosaur experts. Oh, look at the blowhole, friends. Wow. The blue whale spends all its time living in deep water, but unlike fish, it can't breathe underwater because it doesn't have gills. It needs to breathe air just like we do. The blue whale can hold its breath and stay under the water for as long as 30 minutes before eventually coming up for air. It breathes using blowholes on the top of its head. Sometimes, when it does come up for air, it breathes out a huge fountain of water from the blowholes. Blue whales are carnivores. They eat lots of food to build up their blubber during the summer months when food is easy to find. Blue whales eat teeny tiny creatures called plankton. The plankton that blue whales eat are small, shrimp like shellfish that are about the size of your little finger. It's incredible to think that the biggest animal on Earth eats one of the smallest animals on Earth. Wow. The ocean is so huge and deep that we could spend all year looking at the plants and animals that live there and still not see them. In fact, there are still many living things in the oceans that people and adventurous rats have not even discovered yet. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the animals in this saltwater habitat in the Pacific Ocean. We still have one more stop to make on our worldwide tour of habitats. I'll see you next time. Okay, so let me get my camera back up. So, nice job. And of course, we couldn't talk about everything that lives in the ocean, but we were able to just talk about a few. So, in our next video that we have, let me scroll. We are going to be talking not about space, but that is where he is, Rattenborough. But we are going to be talking about how humans harm our Earth and how humans need to make some good choices and decisions to save our Earth. So that will be our next read aloud. Um, I'm really excited to continue to learn more with you guys. So I will see you at our next knowledge lesson. But until then, have a great day, friends.